I'm sure they're not holding on to the car. Oh, wait, they are. Cheating at the Tour de Guadeloupe is ordinary. It is pretty much celebrated. The most entertaining bike race on the planet. Forget about the Tour de France. Forget about the Giro. Forget about La Vuelta, Paris-Roubaix, Liège-Bastogne-Liège. Forget about them. This is the Tour de Guadeloupe, the most entertaining race in the calendar that you've never heard of, guys. Look at what happens and look at what is normal and ordinary here in the Tour de Guadeloupe. Guys, this is a Caribbean race, and it is a race where this is allowed. The fans are cheering as the riders fly by at speeds we've never seen before. Check it out again. Wow. See the speeds the riders go by next to the car there. I'm sure they're not holding on to the car. Oh, wait, they are. Cheating at the Tour de Guadeloupe is ordinary. It is pretty much celebrated. This is the best bike race I've ever watched. 2 riders were caught clinging to a speeding team car as they attempted to regain contact with the peloton. Funny thing is, Cretides doesn't even ride for competitive edge. Yeah, so he's literally holding onto a rival team car to get back into the race and no one cares. Narroway maybe has some excuse. At least it was his own team car. But it doesn't matter. There's no rules here in the Caribbean races. You can do what you like. In fact, guys, I want to go right now. Cretides did not make it to the finish on Monday's He didn't even make it to the finish. Even though he was holding onto the team car. He was officially disqualified by the commissaires. Oh, that's a letdown. I mean, come on. Let's just have one race in the calendar where you can do what you want. That would be really funny. But it gets crazier than this, guys. There were 2 Dutch riders and they were caught hiding behind a parked car before attempting to sneak into the peloton when the race zoomed back through. So I imagine it was probably some kind of circuit. So they probably hid. Yeah, they probably hid in the circuit somewhere and then waited for the race to come around again and then just joined back in. Sounds like a good idea. It's smart. I mean, it must have been a big car they were hiding behind with their bikes and everything.
Et il va s'en mêler. Tu vois, parce qu'il faut y chercher.
Absolument, absolument. On comprend
c'est parti.
parfaitement. Il est 9h04
He's French speaking.
minutes ici en Guadeloupe, du côté de la Guyane. Hein?
Guadeloupe? I think that's how they say it.
C'est vrai qu'on pense systématiquement à vous. Vous avez cette petite heure, une heure.
Sur le nord Basse-Terre. Donc on fera plusieurs tours et on va arriver au Lamentin.
Vous êtes une fan de cyclisme?
Pardon?
Vous êtes une fan de cyclisme?
Oh là là, je suis lamentinoise, donc je vous ai tout dit.
Oui.
Au fait de cette course, de la
Graphiquement, on peut pas. Toujours dans.
I love these types of races. So there's no on-screen graphics to tell you how far the race has to go. There's no gaps on the screen. Apart from the camera, this is tête de course, so the front of the race. But so this is the part of the world that they're racing in this race. Wow, it's an island in the Caribbean. Yeah, so near Venezuela and Puerto Rico. So this is the finish now. Got a sprint all the way on the left there. Oh, the rider in the middle won it. Get a replay? No replay. Deal with it. Guys, you watch a race for hours and then that's the only angle of the coverage you get for the finish line. Don't celebrate. Sometimes that happens when riders don't realise there's people out front who've already finished and won the race. If they're in the group behind, sometimes they cross the line thinking they were first. Thankfully, though, they seem to know that they were not at the front. Here's the finish. So, Owen Cole won, American rider for Quebec and Valo. Tobias Nold, Guillaume Haldiman. Guys, I don't really recognize these names, but you never know. In a year or two, they may be at the Tour de France. Maybe Owen Cole will be winning every single freaking stage in the sprints at the Tour de France next year. Who knows? I really like these kinds of races, to be honest with you. I enjoy smaller races with less famous riders in. It's kind of just, I don't know, it just has a more sort of real feel to it. There's none of the stupid TNT Sports overhyped commentary, apart from Sean Kelly and Colton Kirby. I don't mind them too. But yeah, it's just the presenters are just real men just presenting a cycle race. They're not trying to hype it up beyond what it really is. And there's no crazy domination. Although there are no mountain stages, to be fair, I do like watching mountain stages, but you're allowed to cheat, kind of. You're not really, but it's kind of like an ordinary, it's kind of like a normal thing at the Tour de Guadeloupe, hiding behind cars, jumping into the race at the last second, holding on to team cars even though they're not your team. Now this is bike racing, guys. Forget about the freaking Vuelta. I'm going to be watching Tour de Guadeloupe. Subscribe if you want. Subscribe for daily highlights and coverage here on Cycling Theory. We've also got the China Xinjiang Trans Himalaya. Most enjoyable racing I've watched actually has been among smaller names that you've probably never heard before, teams that you didn't even know existed. I have a feeling, and it's a bad feeling, that modern World Tour cycling and the biggest races might be scripted. And this is a theory I've not wanted to take seriously because I find it hard to believe anyway, but I just have a bad feeling that we're in an age of scripted entertainment where racing in the World Tour, at the Tour de France, etc., is more or less scripted, and maybe certain riders are allowed motors in their bikes or allowed to use substances that are normally banned just to win because they know how to make money. It's all about money, whereas these smaller races they're just sort of here on a smaller level. They're not making big money. They're just existing maybe for tourism, maybe for showing off the towns that they're in, maybe getting some coverage across seas for tourism purposes, to promote the towns, to promote the country, to promote their smaller businesses. And it's quite entertaining. It might also just be for fun as well, like private investors that make these races happen and just doing it because they love it. And I enjoy watching it, to be honest with you. This is very entertaining, actually, to follow smaller riders across the globe racing for smaller titles. Lady racing at the Tour de France, very entertaining as well. So get watching the lady races because it's more open than men's racing is at the moment, because you might as well just give Tadej Pogačar every single title, the absolute GOAT, but he is just absolutely demolishing entertainment as far as rivalries are concerned. I mean, you might enjoy watching him dominate, but you might prefer to watch rivalries as well. But there is none of that, and there's not going to be any of that in the Vuelta. No one's going to be able to hold the wheel of Pogačar. It's not going to be possible. Amazing tactics being shown by the riders. Rivalries are plenty. Close gaps on general classification. Subscribe if you haven't, guys, because Tour de Guadeloupe Stage 6 is coming today. I'm going to be covering this epic Tour de Guadeloupe race, and let's have some real racing before we have to go through the Vuelta. Before we have to sit through the Vuelta like bored school children, just waiting for the bell to ring so they can go home, while Pogačar just races at the front and drops everyone, and then probably just chills in the final week and doesn't even bother to follow any attacks because he probably will have a 10-minute lead. Anyway, guys, thanks for watching. Subscribe if you haven't.